I believe life's greatest question is, what happens to a person once he dies? Every person's going to die. There's no debate about it because it's happening right before our eyes. But what happens to a person once he dies? Does he still exist? Is he still a person? Is there an awareness or a consciousness of the fact that he is so-called dead? There are many beliefs and philosophies on this matter, and many questions that deserve an answer. To live 70 to 80 years on this earth is not sufficient for us to really engulf life and its opportunities. There's more, and we know there's more. From having this short life here on earth, we assume that there is more, and rightfully so. There are people that claim they have died and come back to life. We can only take them at their word, for we were not with them in their experience. But we are interested in their testimony and what they have to say because we are naturally interested in what happens to a person when he dies. None of them ever claim they have come into nothing. Everyone has had an experience. Some claim they have gone to heaven, others have other experiences, but they all say that they experience something, and generally they say that they did not want to come back but needed to come back to fulfill some kind of purpose on earth here. The scary thing about dying is that it is so final. It takes us away from everything that we know and takes us and transfers us into the unknown. Death is like a black door in a black wall that leads us into a black and dark path where we do not understand where it will take us. Life is often hard, generally, but even in hard times, we have some level of hope that one day we will be delivered or find some level of relief of the hard times. But death is final and closes all doors for us. What we must remember about death is, for us living people, we only see one side of it. We only see it from a living perspective. We have not gone into it. And so we only examine, we listen to those that claim they have died and come back. But we only, even when we listen to their stories, we only see it from our perspective. We have not experienced death, so we cannot speak from experience. We only try to search it from an unexperiential point of view. There are some teachings in the Bible that prove to be true in relation to our feelings in connection to life and death. For an example, we are interconnected to each other. The Bible puts it like this: none of us lives to himself, and none of us dies to himself, recorded in Romans chapter number 14. What we do not like about death is that it disconnects us from all that we love and respect, even the things that we know. Death in the Bible is described very differently than we would naturally assume it to be. It is more of a separation than a termination like we would see it. It separates us from everything and everyone that we know, and the ultimate death also separates us from God. It's a separation, not a termination. We as people, we are triune beings. The Apostle Paul wrote it like this: now may the God of peace himself sanctify you completely, and may your whole spirit and soul and body be kept blameless. Recorded in Thessalonians, Paul is referring to the return of Jesus Christ and how we will face him. There's a lot of evidence in our lives. We have passions, desires, mental states, even spiritually, we connect to others in all three areas. In body, in soul, and in spirit, we are triune beings created after the character of God. We even have these dealings in our own lives where we wrestle in ourselves, spirit against body, body against soul, soul against spirit. And that just proves that we are not like a single entity being like an animal. An animal does not have a soul or a spirit. He's a single entity being and doesn't wrestle within himself or feel conviction or disappointment or having these struggles where one side is pulling one way or the other side the other way. We are triune beings, and so there's three aspects to us. People are eternal beings. You may say, how can you say that when we see people die all the time? My reasoning for claiming this claim is this. If we were just temporary beings and our life was actually over, or we would no longer exist after we die, then death would be natural. But death is the most unnatural thing that we ever face, because there's a thing within us that is not finished with life. We expect more, we long for more, we desire more. There's a craving for more from within us. The King Solomon, in his God-given wisdom, declared this to us. I perceive that whatever God does endures forever. Nothing can be added to it, nor anything taken from it. God has done it so that people fear before him, recorded in the book of Ecclesiastes. Solomon also said, God, has made everything beautiful in its time. Also, he has put eternity into man's heart, yet so that he cannot find out what God has done from the beginning to the end, also recorded in the book of Ecclesiastes. There is a built-in desire and connection to eternity from within us because we are created by an eternal God. What happens to a person when he dies?